So you guys went from Austin to a smaller market to Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a small market. We'd love to hear why you think being in a small market is so good.
Oh, happily.
It's so good.
It's so great. Oh. Yeah, so like when we moved to Austin was like half the size. We got there in 2004.
Austin was a small market when we moved there.
Yes, it was super cheap. So cheap to live there. Like we got a 2-bedroom, like 1,200 square foot apartments, big apartment, like right on the Greenbelt, which is like cliffs and river, right close to downtown for like $650 a month. It's like that's
5 minutes from downtown Austin,
Yeah.
like bike ride distance.
Yeah, in like the most expensive zip code. Like that's how cheap Austin was when we got there. Like, I mean, I could have worked. We did work retail, and I worked at the Olive Garden as a server to like pay rent. Like we didn't have a lot of grocery money, like, but that's really cheap.
A lot of Red Baron.
In Ann Arbor, Michigan, at like where I went to college, like my room in like my condemned house, like a legit trash.
It wasn't condemned yet.
It wasn't, but it should have been. It was $650 for like my closet, and that didn't include any utilities. Like, I mean, it was Austin was so cheap, and it actually stayed really affordable for 6 or 7 years. Like we bought our first house there. It was like super affordable. It was like $170,000, like little cute starter home, like south of downtown.
Slightly asbestos-y, but pretty
well,
nice. Pretty nice.
It's a whole other story. We'll tell you about it when we're afterwards. This hilarious house, but like it was the right way. Like, you know, it was like a $1,200 a month mortgage, and that was with the property.
So the thing is, like part of this too is like the process of funding Overland. Like when we pile it all up, we're like, we sold our house and did the thing, and there's like this is an industry thing. As people do a narrative, they're like these crazy people sacrificed everything to make the thing, and it was so much more boring than that.
Yeah.
It was like every 3 to 6 months we'd be like, this game is nowhere even close to done yet. It is nowhere close to done, and we're working our butts off. We're running this contract. We did this licensing deal. We did this other thing. It's just soaking up money, but it's turning out cool, and we're still watching the market for games like this, and we're sending prototypes to really judgmental friends who have said the meanest stuff about my work in the past, and they're totally into it. So
that's what sort of carried you forward.
It was kind of like, do we want to do the next 6 months? How much farther can we push it, and what do we need to do that?
This crazy thing that we did was just a really smart math problem. I was like, I can fund this game for another 9 to 10 months.
Well, the house had to be sold
Easily.
anyway. We were just mad at it all the time and didn't want to live in it anymore.
And we were getting mad at Austin in general. Like we were just sort of. There's a lot of stuff that comes from a town that's rapidly growing, and everything.
And we have kids. We wanted to be close to grandparents and be able to go to family parties at holidays. There's a bunch of things that stacked up, but one thing that fell out of it was, by changing the place where we're living, we also just extended our development time on this game for the next chunk, and we can see where it goes next.
I didn't have to get an actual angel investor. Like a person loaned us like $30,000. Because they had a windfall from a recent launch. They didn't need it yet. But I was looking
their
at having
accountant
to
specifically
borrow.
Told them, like, get this out of your account.
Yeah, their accountant's like, please loan this to somebody, get it out, or else you have to pay taxes on it. And I'm like, I'll happily borrow that indefinitely.
We'll sleep way better at night, and we won't get hives anymore.
But like what we were looking at is like I was gonna have to borrow like $200,000. Like that's when I start putting interest on that. That's a lot of money, and we'd always bootstrapped everything, and I was like, I can't borrow money. I've always bootstrapped. I've always figured out a way to make this stretch. And when I started doing just the math on a house sale, I was like, I can get a nicer house in a place where my kids can play outside in the summer. It'll be super chill with no traffic, and like my trade-off is it's not as cool.
But like we were parents, we didn't get to do anything cool anymore anyway.
I haven't
Ever.
gone out like to a movie after like 2 p.m. not on baby day in like 4 years. I didn't see any of my friends. I had babies at home. I didn't have any backup. We didn't have grandparents.
No more midnight kung fu.
Yeah, right?
Just
kids.